Hello everyone, this is Logan59XP here for a late to the party stream where I'm basically doing this at the last second because I was gonna do this on the day it started and then I was gonna do it yesterday, but it didn't happen yesterday for a variety of reasons I'll get into in a bit. And now we're finally doing it. And there's like 2 or 3 hours left. But you know what? That's pretty much as long as I want this to go on for anyway. So, not really a huge deal. Also, we have Dylan, aka Green Engineer, here with us today.
Yay!
So, that's gonna be nice. He hasn't done a Splatoon stream yet because
I haven't really done any stream, period.
Wait, what?
Well, not okay. Well, I was basically saying that I haven't done any stream, period. But if you're talking about like on your channel, then I don't think I did.
Well, what I was gonna say is we haven't done any Splatoon 3 stuff. And that's partly
There we
because
go.
you didn't have the game when it first came out, and then you
No,
got
I
the
did
game, and then I didn't know you had the game until like not too long ago.
not.
So now it's like, okay, well, at least I know you have it now, even though it's kind of too little too late. It's the
Yeah.
it's the Splatoon 2 situation all over again, where like you take too long, and because of that I've kind of already done everything. It's kind of that problem, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
So I actually already played some of this last night just on my own. But
Oh.
I have not done the tricolor yet. And the tricolor in this particular one is interesting because the tricolor in this event is actually a unique map.
Ooh.
Well, what I should say is it's a variation on an existing map, but it's essentially its own new map. And I don't know, you probably haven't seen it, but what it is basically they took, dang it, I forgot the name. Like the first map that we ever saw for the game, the one that's in the desert, that one. And they took that map and they made it a Triforce. And
Well, given the Splatfest, I could see why.
And that's pretty much how that works. So, since I already did some of this last night, I already picked a team, and I'm pretty sure that matters. So, do you really care?
On what team I'm being?
Yeah.
Not really.
Okay, well then you're gonna have to be on Team Courage because that's what I picked. I'm pretty sure you can't play together if you're on different teams.
I could see why, unless we go against each other. But honestly, I thought about picking Team Courage anyway.
I've also been working on ranking up, so I know in the past I've talked about how like in Splatoon I have this tendency to use the same like 3 or 4 weapons.
Hmm.
And by 3 or 4 weapons I mean more 1 and 2, but but I have the tendency to kind of just I get like the couple of weapons I like and I just run them completely into the ground. And in this game you can clearly tell which weapons those are. The 52 gal here I have 4 stars on. And I have 4 stars on the hero shot replica that you get from beating the campaign. Those are the 2 I've used the absolute most. And I have a couple of like you know how you get like badges once you reach certain milestones, like hey, you got 30 kills with this like sub weapon, you get like a little badge or whatever for your profile. Like I have like those and stuff like that. But ever since then I've been slowly, that's the key word here, slowly working on actually doing other weapons, because here's the thing, right? In this game they changed how you get weapons. Before you just bought the weapons, but now you have to get the Sheldon cards or whatever, and the only way you get more Sheldon cards is by leveling up your weapons. So the game basically forces you to use other weapons if you want more weapons. There are other ways you can get the Sheldon cards. I think you can also get the Sheldon cards by just like leveling up or whatever. But like generally speaking, ranking up the weapons, you get the stars. You can get 5 stars per weapon, all that stuff. That's generally how that works, as far as I can remember, at least. Yeah, I don't actually have that many weapons. Like in the other 2 games, I have like all the weapons, of course. But in this one, I only have like what, like 24 weapons maybe at most, and there's a lot more than 24, so I don't know, I don't have that many. I've been working on the dualies recently, getting those ranked up. Kind of right now, my main kind of strategy in terms of like just getting points without having to spend a ton of time on each weapon is to get to 2 stars. Because if you buy a weapon and then get 1 star, that's basically just getting the star you already spent back. It's not really, you're not really gaining anything. But if you get 2 stars, then you get an extra star, obviously. So basically the idea is get 2 stars on as many weapons as possible. That's kind of how that's going right now. And then obviously if there's a weapon I really like using, then maybe I'll go further. But there's only really a couple I've really spent a long time working on again, like the 52 Gal Hero Shot Replica. I even have a decent amount on the Splattershot Nova. It has 3 stars, actually. But none of that really matters for what we're doing right now anyway. Oh wow, I just realized I have no brushes, I have no blasters. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of weapons I have not bothered to buy. Even though I have plenty of cards, I'm just like deliberately saving them because reasons. Let's see,
reasons.
Yeah, let's see. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to keep using what I've been using recently. I want to get that kind of leveled up. Another thing I need to work on, even though this doesn't matter really, is the locker. I haven't updated my locker, like, since the game came out, basically. I don't know, this is not really something I'm all that interested in, but obviously there's lots of lockers. A lot of stuff in them, and mine's just kind of, you know, whatever, I guess. But you can tell I haven't updated it in forever because you get like the starter locker, right? And then like the higher up you go, you get a bigger locker. Well, you can tell that I haven't updated my locker since I got the bigger locker because it cuts off where the old locker would end. So that's kind of it's like really obvious. I haven't changed any of that. But anyways, are you in the game yet?
Not yet.
I guess while I'm waiting here, since it's been a hot minute since the last stream, because I haven't been doing them recently, I guess I can kind of talk about some stuff that's, I guess it's worth talking about, I guess. I mean, there's been like quite a bit of stuff that's happened actually since the last stream. Probably too much for me to really even remember. But I guess one thing I can get really quickly is yesterday. So I was saying earlier at the beginning how I didn't stream this yesterday because I was gonna stream this on the 5th when it first started. But Dylan wasn't really available at that time, and I wanted to do this with him to make it more interesting. And so I'm not just talking to myself for 2 hours.
Yeah, that'd be boring.
Yeah. And because, hey, now that I know he has the game, you know, why not get him in on basically any Splatoon stream I do if I can. So, yeah. But he wasn't available, on the 5th, and he was supposed to be available on the 6th. However, yesterday I actually went out and saw Guardians 3. I didn't do a video on it because, like I've mentioned in the past, in like one of the previous streams from this year, I'm kind of don't really feel, and also the community post from like when Ant-Man came out, I don't really feel like doing the Marvel discussions anymore unless it's for something like really important, because it's just kind of like, I don't really feel like making a 45-minute video on every single thing that comes out when I don't care about all of them. I mean, this is one that I care about more than some of the others, but like you get kind of the idea. Like I kind of was just like, you know what? Like also I don't feel like I need to make one on every single thing that comes out, and also I felt like it was taking up too much of the series. Like, have you seen the last couple of seasons and count how many of those discussions are Marvel discussions? It's like 75%, if not more. Like last season, I think like there were like what 7 or 8 episodes, and like 6 of them were like or just Marvel discussions of some kind. And it's kind of like I feel like it was clogging up the series too much, and it's I don't know. I feel like it didn't really need to be a thing. It's kind of like, you know what? Let's save the discussions for the stuff that really deserves it. If something comes out and I think it's, you know, fine or whatever, and I don't really have anything to say about it, then I'm not gonna say anything about it. You know, like I'm not gonna really say anything unless it's like a really like notable thing. Like for example, when Spider-Verse comes out next month, I will most likely do a video on that because it's Spider-Verse. That's important enough and notable enough to like get a discussion. Or whenever like Secret Wars comes out in a few years, assuming I am still following this stuff by then, and that will be a video, obviously, because there's no way I can't not talk about it. But everything in between, all the movies and shows in between, for the most part, I'm probably not going to really talk about because I just don't really feel like it. But if you want the long and short of Guardians 3, it's genuinely like pretty good. Not really a surprise. It's Guardians, but like, yeah. It's definitely one of the better ones, without question. I can't think of a single, like, flaw in that movie off the top of my head. Like Ant-Man. When I came out of Ant-Man, I liked Ant-Man. I know a lot of people didn't. But even then, I could think of, like, oh, I know people wouldn't like this, they wouldn't like that. And I agree with some of those. Like, obviously, like, the MODOK CGI was, like, really weird, but, like, for the most part, you know, I liked it, but I definitely could see why a lot of people wouldn't like it. But with Guardians 3, like, I really don't see, like, I really can't see anything. I mean, obviously, I'm not gonna say anything for those that haven't seen it, but, like, I don't know, if you like the Guardians, you're gonna like this one. There's really nothing in it that I think would piss people off. But yeah, and I think it's a good send-off to like the current team and James Gunn's time at the MCU as he moves over to, you know, working on DC full time and all that. So yeah, long story short, if you haven't liked the newer MCU stuff, because I know a lot of people really don't like the newer MCU stuff, definitely give Guardians 3 a shot. It's definitely one of the better ones we've had in recent times. But yeah, but I'm not gonna make a 45-minute video on it. I just don't feel like it. It's not really needed.
Yeah, I do have the game up now, by the way.
Okay, then. So, yeah, I'm just kind of sitting here.
I'm just wondering on whether I should go visit Sheldon, see if I can get any more weapons.
Yeah, how many licenses do you have?
I barely played this game at all.
Why does that not surprise me?
Not much.
That's pretty much how it's always been. The only time you ever play it is whenever I get you to play it.
Yeah.
That's always how it's worked since day one.
Mm.
So then wait, what level are you?
What level am I actually? Probably a very low level.
That may or may not be a problem depending on how low your level is. I forget what the... Wait, actually, no. Wait, did you get the bonuses for having Splatoon 2 data?
I think I did.
Well, if you did, then I think you get to bypass some of that. Because if you're starting completely bone stock, then you have to like get to like rank 10 or whatever to unlock like a certain thing or whatever. But I think if you have Splatoon 2 data, not only do you get like those extra Sheldon licenses, but you also get like an automatic boost to like, not literally an automatic boost to rank 10, but you get like the ranked mode like immediately. I forget. I mean, not that we're doing ranked, but like I forget how exactly the unlock thing for that works. All I know for sure is you get the 3 golden licenses, but I forget how exactly the ranking thing works. But I swear the way it works is if you have Splatoon 2 data, regardless, I think, of your ranking in Splatoon 2, you get like an automatic, like, oh yeah, you get to do ranked mode immediately. You don't have to get to level 10. Again,
Okay. Well,
not
if I do, I don't know if I did that.
well, it's something that happens well, not automatically, but like when you first boot up the game, there'll be a thing that's like, hey, you have Splatoon 2 save data. Do you want these like free benefits or whatever? It's like yes or no. And I don't know why you would pick no.
I feel like I would have pressed yes.
I know there's some people out there that picked no, but like, I mean, I
Like, this is
admittedly,
fresh.
I mean, even I admittedly kind of thought about it. I was kind of like, you know, like I can understand not wanting to like quote unquote cheat and skip the line because like I want to have the authentic experience, but also like, why not? I don't know. Another thing about that's also important is, as far as I'm aware, you can't go back and get it later. If you say no to it, that's it. You're never getting it. Unless you delete your Splatoon 3 save data and then start all over again. But obviously, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I feel like I pressed yes.
Okay, then, well, I guess we'll... it's probably fine. I mean, we're just doing turf war after all, so that shouldn't really affect anything anyway.
Yeah.
What other news has there been? There has been a lot of news. What was the last stream I even did? I don't even remember. That's how long it's been. Because, yeah, I was talking about this before the stream started, but I'm sure I've mentioned this whenever I do a stream nowadays, but I have not done that many streams this year. I've been pretty relaxed on the streams for the most part. They happen every now and then. They're not like forgotten, but like they are firmly in the back seat. They're not like in the front seat like they were the last couple of years where I did a lot of streams and not many videos. Well, I'm still not doing that many videos. but yeah. But that joke has been running to the ground at this point, so I've kind of tried to stop bringing it up. Like the whole the Smash videos still aren't done yet. But I've been saying that for like a year. It's like, yeah. All I have to say in regards to that is the usual. It's still not canceled. I still want to finish them. I'm just really lazy. That's the only reason they are not done yet at this point. It is purely down to me just being lazy and not feeling like finishing them. But I still want to finish them, but I don't know. I really should just be like officially there on hold so I can at least work on other stuff, but I don't know. Again, I've talked about that enough as is. I don't know. Point is, still coming eventually, maybe. I don't know. There are other videos I want to do, though. It's just I really want to get those videos out the door first. But then again, we've seen how that's gone. Yeah, well, you ready yet?
Yeah, I'm in like the lobby.
Okay then.
I'm just waiting.
Okay, let's see. You know, let's start off with the tricolor because I haven't seen the tricolor yet. I mean, I know what it looks like. I've seen pictures, but I haven't actually played on it yet. Okay, well, I got that up.
All right, so I go tricolor battle then.
I think what you do is you go to like the friends category, then you can join
with friends.
Yeah, there's like a friends category, and then they'll show you a list of all the people that are online.
There you are.
I just realized that for some weird reason, YouTube automatically assigned Splatoon 2 as the game category.
Oh. There we go.
Let me fix that, actually. Not that it matters, but then again, maybe that would help getting someone in here. But then again, the category system doesn't mean nearly as much on YouTube as it does on Twitch. Whereas on Twitch, the category system is like one of the main ways you find people on there. But on here, it's kind of a side thing. What was the last stream I did? Oh, the last stream I did was the Mario movie final direct reaction,
Oh,
and that was in March. that was
yeah.
that was like almost 2 months ago. See, that goes to show how little these have really done. How little of these I've done. Yeah, there we go. Now it's just Splatoon 3. Yay! Is the stream stable? Looks like it's stable. So yeah, right now I'm using. Oh yeah, so actually, it's been so long since the last stream that there have actually been some behind the scenes changes for me. Most of them really aren't that big of a deal. Like from a like it's not gonna really change anything, but it is. And like there are some different. Like for example, so for the last few years, I've had a 3900X as my main processor, but I've been wanting to upgrade it. So, okay, I'm sure I've told this story before, but I guess I'll kind of tell it a little again. So back in late 2020, I was running a 7700K on my original motherboard from 2016. And at that point, I was really raring for an upgrade. I wanted to, go beyond 4 cores, 8 threads. I was ready to get something new. Just not just for gaming, but even just like content creation and stuff. Just like I felt like it was time to upgrade. I'd used, that motherboard for a good 4 years. I felt like, it was still a decent processor. The 7700K is still not a bad CPU. I wouldn't play games on it at this point, but it's still a perfectly usable processor. But I wanted to upgrade. So I was kind of like, okay, what we're going to go with. And at that time, Raptor Lake wasn't a thing yet, so I had no interest in really going with Intel. Because the Intel chips at the time weren't all that interesting to me. If Raptor Lake... Did I say Raptor Lake? Sorry, I meant Alder Lake.
I think so.
So Alder Lake came out first. Yeah, now if Alder Lake was out at that point, I maybe would have considered Alder Lake, but at the time, all we had for Intel was Comet Lake, so that would have been like 10th gen. And while those weren't bad chips by any means, I just wasn't all that interested in them. At that point, I was firmly looking at a AMD, particularly like a Ryzen 9, like a 5900X was really looking at 12 cores, Zen 3. By comparison, at the time, Intel only had 10 cores on their CPUs. Alder Lake fixed that, and now they have 16, even 24 cores. Yeah, it's the P-core, E-core thing, whatever. But it's still 16 cores, 24 cores. And they are real cores. E-cores may not be, P-cores, but they're still real cores, and they still pack a punch. So, but anyways, that's a whole other conversation. Point is, I was thinking I'm going to go from a 7700K to a 5900X. Because, Zen 3 had just come out, and... that was the chip I was really looking at, because that was the one that was like the highest end chip I could do that made sense, because the 5950X was like $700-800 or whatever when it first came out, and that's like, no, of course I'm not gonna get that. That's ridiculous. But the 5900X was like 500, so like, well, that's still a lot of money. I had a way to make it work. Obviously, I was gonna sell all my old parts, and I was gonna put that money towards getting the new stuff, new motherboard, all that stuff. So it wasn't really gonna be $500. It was gonna be more like $250 or whatever. I forget the actual amount, but I was able to sell the 7700K for a pretty good price actually. So that helped a lot with making the 5900X affordable, because obviously on its own it wouldn't have been. There was only one problem with that entire plan, though. The problem with that plan was, as I'm sure anyone that was around a couple of years ago, I'm saying that like it was like forever ago, but for those of you that, remember when Zen 3 first came out, you will remember that it was an absolute pain in the ass to get any of those chips when they first came out, because like with the graphics cards, like the shortages and the scalpers were real, right? This was like, during like kind of the beginnings of like the shortages for all that stuff. And for the CPUs, it didn't take too long. The CPUs took like 6 months, and then by that point you could pretty much just buy them at retail price, whereas the graphics cards famously took like 2 years before they came down to a normal price, but that's already been talked about plenty. But the point is, so I sold the 7700K in late 2020, like December 2020, and I was going to get that 5900X. And then I quickly discovered how much of an ordeal it was going to be to get a 5900X because of the shortages. And I would check Micro Center every day. I would check the Now in Stock website every day. I would check every possible way. I would check. I signed up for the Telegram notification. Like, I did everything in my power to make sure that I would know if a chip was available, whether it's on Amazon or Newegg or Micro Center or whatever. And I ended up waiting about a month for that. I ended up waiting like several weeks, if not a month, to get a darn chip. And during that whole time, because I had sold the 7700K, I didn't have a working computer, so I had to use my laptop, which is a Haswell 2-core blippity blip, not great. It's okay, but like it's not at all equipped to be like a main computer whatsoever. It does not have the power for that. And I can tell you right now, it was a pain to try to use that as a main computer, and it was really annoying. But eventually, I got sick and tired of because I even went to Micro Center, like how like when there's a big launch, you have like the lines outside the store, right? Like whenever a new game comes out, like the midnight launch and stuff, right? Well, that like midnight launch, just guys like around the block type thing. That was happening like every single day at Micro Center for a month. Before the store would open, there would be a big line out, and I actually went there once. Only like once, maybe twice. But like once or twice, we actually went there early before the store opened because I saw on the website there was one 5900X in stock. And of course, there were a crap ton of people online. So, because of course everyone else wants it too, right? I mean, they were also probably trying to get graphics cards and stuff, but I'm imagining a good chunk of the people that were there because they wanted that processor, that one chip, and we quickly figured out that wasn't really going to work out. And so eventually I just got really fed up with having to use the laptop as like a main computer because it sucked as the main computer. So I said, you know what? Screw it. Let's get the next best thing. Let's get a 3900X, the last gen equivalent. So I got it, and I used it for a good two and a half years, and it worked great. Nothing wrong with it. It's still a great chip. Never had any problems with it. My only issue I ever had with that chip was just that it was always a compromise, right? Like, I only got that chip because I had no other choice, unless I wanted to wait forever for the chip I actually wanted to be in stock. And since I was like, you know what, the 3900X is still going to be a big upgrade. It's not that much slower. It's fine. And plus, one way I was able to justify it at the time was, hey, I don't get a 5900X now, but now it means I can justify, you know, a few years down the line when they're cheaper, I can get a 5950X and max out the motherboard and have the best chip on AM4 outside of maybe the 5800X 3D, depending on who you ask. But I didn't want 8 cores. I wanted 16 cores, so... Yeah, so we got the 3900X, used it for a good 2 or 3 years, you know, 2021 to recently, and we'll get to that in a second. You can probably take a guess where this is going. And I used that, never had any problems with it on its own, but it always bothered me that it was a compromised choice, and eventually once like I saw the prices of 5950X start to go down, I was kind of like, you know what? Should I do this? Is it really worth the upgrade? I mean, yeah, it's faster. Yeah, it's more cores, but is it really worth it? Because there's nothing really. The current chip is totally. I wasn't running into any, you know, problems with the current chip or anything. Like I wasn't running into like any bottlenecks or situations where I can tell the chip is holding me back. Like the only real limitation that chip had was that it's not the best chip for high frame rates, but like. I was just playing at 4K 60, so that didn't really affect me. So that chip was totally fine. But I couldn't help myself. I wanted the best chip on the platform, even if I didn't need it whatsoever. So last month, I sold the 3900X. I got a 5950X. And I also upgraded from 32 to 64 gigs of RAM because screw it, why not? And also because it would feel kind of weird. You know, I kind of follow like the tech deals philosophy of if you have a chip that good, then you need to have 64 gigs of RAM. And I was kind of like, yeah, it would have felt weird to like, I mean, of course you don't need 64 gigs of RAM, let's make that clear, but it would have felt weird. I mean, I don't even need it, but like, but it would have felt weird to have like a 5050X and only have 32 gigs of RAM. That would have felt like weird to me. So I got another 64 gigs of RAM, and now I have a 5050X, and that's the very long, probably overly long story that no one really cares about. of me trying to get to the point that basically the biggest difference between the last stream and this stream is the last stream was on the 3900X, and this one's on the 5050X. It doesn't make any difference from a stream perspective because I'm still using the graphics card, because why wouldn't I, as the encoder. And although one thing that is different is that the new version of OBS came out that allows you to use HEVC and AV1 on the standard RTMP setting without having to use HLS. So that's what I'm using right now. So we're still doing the standard, 1440p 60, 15 megabits HEVC, but now we're doing it on RTMP and not HLS. And the main improvement you get from doing that is that now I can do ultra low latency. Now, I've talked about in the past how if you stream at 1440p, you don't get ultra low latency. You only get normal low latency. Well, here's something I discovered a few weeks ago. That is not true anymore.
Oh.
Or at least I mean, like a couple weeks ago, because I never actually tried doing it. I just took, because YouTube on their official documentation says, oh yeah, you can't, ultra low latency is not supported at 1440p. So I just took it for their word and never actually tried it. But there's nothing stopping you from actually picking the setting. So I tried it, and it worked. And I don't just mean worked in the sense that the stream started. I mean like, no. It actually was working. And I know that there is a limitation, because if you try doing 4K ultra low latency, which absolutely 100% is not supported, then the stream will start, but the latency will not be reflected. So like if you pick ultra low latency and you're streaming at 4K, if you go to the stream and you click on like the stats option and you actually look at the stats, it'll be normal latency. So for 4K, I can tell you 100%, when they say 4K is normal latency only, they mean it. It really is normal latency only, so it's not feasible in most cases. I mean, not that most people would be streaming at 4K anyway, but like if you wanted to, if you had the bandwidth for it, then you might not want to do that, because then you're gonna have to deal with like 20 or 30 second latency, and that's like obviously gonna suck if you're trying to have like an engaging live stream with the chat and stuff, which is what I like to do, because that's kind of like half of the fun of the streams is talking with chat. So that's not feasible. But 1440p, even though it says it doesn't support ultra low latency, that may have been true at one point, but it supports it now because it works. And you can tell that it works because I'm literally doing it right now. Don't believe me? All 2 people watching this stream, if anyone's even watching this stream, if anyone is watching this stream right now, go to the stats for nerds option, look in the corner, and you will see it says optimized for ultra low latency, and that's at 1440p with HEVC, so that's pretty sweet. So now there is absolutely no downside whatsoever to streaming at 1440p as opposed to 1080, and that's good because 1440p looks way better. Not because of the resolution, but because of the bit rate. Because obviously this game, right? I mean, this game is what, 1080p at most, because it's a Switch game. So it's not about the resolution. The resolution isn't better. It's the bit rate that's improved. That's why I stream at 1440p, even though all I stream is Switch games. Because you get way higher bit rate, so it looks way better. It's also the reason why all my videos are 4K now. Because the bit rate. It looks way better. 1080p bit rate on YouTube sucks. I honestly regret making like some of my earlier like modern like some of my earlier main series videos only 1080p. I could have done them in 1440p. I didn't have the power to do 4K at that point, but I could have done 1440p and that would have given me a decent image quality boost. But I didn't do it back then because I didn't think it would have felt weird for whatever reason. And that bothers me because if you go back and you look at like some of like the earlier, I say earlier like it's like forever ago, but it's only like a couple of years. Like if you go back to like features I want to see added in Smash Ultimate, or you know, those videos from like 2019, 2020, those videos that are like only 1080p, the bitrate in those like during certain parts really goes down the tubes because YouTube's compression is really annoying. And that's why, like, starting with, I think, the capture card. I mean, of course, the capture card video had to be 4K to show off the quality the best, but from that video onwards, every main channel video is 4K. And at minimum, I want every video, period, to be 1440p. I want to be, like, no more 1080p videos. Just for the bitrate alone. It's not, again, it's not the resolution. It's the bitrate that's the problem. Like the bitrate is just not good enough at 1080, but it's good enough at 1440, and it's even better at 4K. So, like even like YouTube Shorts, where there's really no reason to go higher than 1080p because most people that are watching those are gonna be watching those in like the Shorts feed. And the Shorts feed doesn't have a quality selector, it just defaults to auto, and I've seen a lot of times in the Shorts feed it defaults to like 360 or 480. So there's really no point in doing a YouTube short at like 1440p other than just because. Heck, if I really wanted to, I could do it at 4K, because they're only a minute long, so they wouldn't take that long to render anyway. But then again, I haven't even done another YouTube short. Again, like with the actual videos, I want to do more shorts at some point, but I also need to think of like a concept for one. My kind of idea for the shorts is like something that doesn't justify the length of a proper video is kind of my idea for that, but I wonder if a minute is long enough. Like I would prefer if it was like maybe 2 minutes. Even just adding that extra minute. Heck, even adding 30 seconds could be a big difference. I mean, I get they're supposed to be shorts, but like, I need it, but like a minute might not be long enough for some of the concepts I would have for that, but I don't know. Anyways, enough with all of that. I'm getting way off track here. We're supposed to be I'm supposed to be talking about stuff that's happened since the last stream. I got one of them out of the way, so yeah, new processor, yay. Doesn't really change anything from a content, like it doesn't change anything on your guys' end whatsoever, but it's an upgrade, so that's cool. What else has changed? Well, there's been what has changed? Again, it's been like 2 months, so there's been a lot of stuff I'm probably gonna forget. The Activision Blizzard thing, of course, is still going on. That's been, you know, continuing. There's been a lot of developments with that, with now apparently the CMA blocking the deal, and that's a whole thing, and whatever, or something like that. I'm not sure if it's been updated since then, but I remember a few days ago, you know, all the videos came out that's like, is the Activision deal gonna fall through? I mean, who knows? I mean, I know when the deal first was announced, I said on stream that no matter what, this is going to go through, and I believed that up until, I think, the most recent verdict. I think the CMA blocking out, because I think, wasn't there one before? I think they tried to block it before, but then they ended up going back on it, and they were like, no, it's cool. And then now they're blocking it again. I don't even remember the reason. I think it's because of cloud gaming. They're concerned about cloud gaming or whatever. But I don't know. But I will admit, I'm kind of shaken on that. Like, up until this point, I've been like, yeah, no matter what what Microsoft says or Sony says or Nvidia says or whoever's involved says, this is going to go through eventually, because I just don't. I mean, here was kind of my philosophy, right? If we can have, you know, Disney by Fox, and that's not a big deal, I don't see why this wouldn't go through, right? Like if that can go through, then why the heck would like any of the like governments give a darn about like a gaming acquisition? Like, I don't think they would really care about that, even though it's like a big deal. But I don't know. Up until recently, I more or less still felt that, but I don't know. This most recent verdict and what's being said has kind of made me like, you know, maybe there's a real chance this actually doesn't go, because Microsoft might have to fight this deal in court, like fight this deal in court for like years, or apparently. And obviously at that point, then it's not worth it. Like if it's gonna take that long, then like what? Then it's not worth it. So who knows? Obviously, we still have time left. I believe the original the original date for like the deal actually finalizing, I believe Microsoft said was June of 2023. So we still have like another month before that that deadline hits. And so if the deal isn't completely like, you know, done and approved by everyone by then who knows? Maybe Microsoft will drag it out. Maybe they'll say, screw it, this isn't worth it. Who knows? Who really knows? But yeah, so that's been continuing onward, but there's nothing really to really say about it other than just, you know, this might be the first real roadblock and it actually not happening, but who knows? What else has there been? Oh yeah, this has obviously been a while, but we had of course the final Zelda trailer. That came out like a month ago at this point. But again, it's been a while since I did a stream, so it's been a while. And it's basically the trailer that everyone was waiting for, right? Like, because like, what's the biggest complaint people have had with the trailers up until that one? They barely show anything. They're all glorified teasers. Has been the problem, right? Like, when we got the one from the February Direct, a lot of people were really annoyed that it was still just another, like, teaser, basically, and they still wouldn't really show us anything, even though the game was, like, a few months away, and I totally got that. But even I was a little kind of annoyed. I mean, every time they've shown the game, it's not, like, all the stuff they show looks neat. But, like, come on, show us more. It's been long enough. This isn't 2 years away. This isn't 3 years away. This isn't even a year away. You're like 3 months away, and we still barely know anything about this game. Tell us! So, of course, the theory everyone had was, oh, we're going to get a direct for it. We're going to get a Tears of the Kingdom direct. But I was kind of skeptical of that, and you want to know why?
Why?
Because the previous game didn't get one. We get Smash Directs. We get Xenoblade Directs. We get Splatoon Directs, but we never get Zelda Directs. I don't think we've ever had a Zelda Direct of any kind whatsoever. And Breath of the Wild did not get one. If Breath of the Wild didn't get one, then why would this one get one? Was kind of my idea. Well, because it's come on, it has to get one. Well, again, the last game was also a really big deal, and that one didn't get one either. So I don't know. That was kind of my idea. Was, you know what? Even though it makes all the sense in the world to have a direct for it, I could also see them just not doing it because they didn't do one for the last one, and also because they really, really, really want to keep things as spoiler-free as possible. Which, we'll get to that in a second. How spectacularly that failed. although not their fault, admittedly, but still. But yeah, so we got the final trailer, and it's basically the trailer everyone was waiting for, and to the surprise of absolutely no one, it tries everything in its power to like live up to like the famous Breath of the Wild trailer from the Switch presentation. With, like, the epic music and the voiceover. It tries everything in its power to be, like, the successor to that trailer. Which is, like, what we would hope for, obviously. But, like, I mean, from the second that trailer started, I could be like, oh, yeah, they're going for it. They're trying to recapture, like, they're trying to recapture the magic of that Breath of the Wild trailer. Because that's what everyone wanted, right? Everyone wanted, we want the Switch presentation trailer, but for this game. And they made it. And it was pretty good. I don't think it's as good as the Breath of the Wild one. I think that one is always, at least, like, I think that one's always going to be, like, the one I think of, like, more. But the Tears of the Kingdom one is still, it's easily the best trailer we've had so far. Not even close.
Yeah.
Easily. But I think the main thing that's going to hold it back for me is the soundtrack. I mean, don't get me wrong. The soundtrack's good. Let's make that clear. The soundtrack for the trailer is good, but it's not as good as the legendary one from the last trailer. Like the one that was so good that people were begging and pleading for them to release it. Because it wasn't in the game, right? Like it wasn't in the game itself. It was only used. Oops, I think I backed out too much.
Oh.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm not seeing you here.
yeah, I went to get something and it accidentally kicked me out. Okay, hold on. But what was I saying? But yeah, I mean, again, the music tries to recapture the magic of the music from the first one. I don't think it quite succeeds in that, but it's still good. Like obviously. But there's just something about the music in that Switch presentation trailer that's just like it was so good that they put it in Smash. Like that's how iconic it is. It's one of the most iconic songs in the game. It's not even in the game. Okay, so I created another lobby.
Yeah, well, I'm in a match, so give me a second to finish.
Okay then.
Because I didn't know you backed out, so I continued the match.
Yeah, that was kind of my fault. I always forget that you don't want to, because yeah, I was trying to redeem like something from one of the shops or whatever. But what was I saying? But yeah, so even though I don't think it quite reaches the same heights as that first trailer, it's still a really good trailer. Make that perfectly clear. It's easily the best Tears of the Kingdom trailer we've had, easily, not even close. And it did something that I've been waiting for. It finally got me, like, excited for the game, which I know sounds weird, but from 2021 onwards, I had been, like, kind of waiting for, like, that moment. Because obviously I was excited when the game was first announced in 2019, but every trailer since then has just been like, yeah, this is cool, but, like, I'm not excited yet. Like, I'm not really excited for it yet. Like, I've been waiting for the moment where I really am like, oh yeah, now I'm like really excited for this. And the newest trailer finally did that for me where I'm like, okay, now I'm actually like really looking forward to this. And that's what obviously what a good trailer should do. That's the whole point of a trailer, is to get you hyped for something. But the last couple of ones haven't really done that, even though they've had cool things in them. Like, obviously, when we got the Sky Islands trailer in 2021, that was obviously neat. We got, you know, the soundtrack, the main theme or whatever, and that was cool. And then, you know, some of the trailers they've had since then have been, like, these little snippets, and we get to see, you know, hey, look, you can build vehicles. Hey, look, there's this. Hey, look, there's that. And of course, we got, like, the little gameplay demonstration bit as well from Aonuma. You know, all that stuff is neat and all, but it didn't really get me, like, excited. Whereas, like, that final trailer actually got me, like, excited. And, of course, that was probably also because we were getting closer and closer to the game coming out. Like, at that point, we were only a month away. So that probably also helped. But, yeah, so yeah, again, late to the party talking about that trailer, but screw it, why not? But, yeah, it's not as good as the Switch presentation trailer, in my opinion, but it's still a really good trailer, and the best one for the game by far. But that's not exactly a surprise. One thing I did find surprising, though, is that they did it as its own standalone kind of thing. I mean, I wasn't expecting them to, again, I wasn't expecting a Zelda Direct, really, because I didn't think they were going to do one, but I wasn't expecting them to stream it. Like, they were like, hey, you know, tune in at, like, 7 a.m. or whatever to watch it live, and I really didn't feel like it. Like, I'm sure I've said this in the last couple of these I've done, but, like, I'm kind of like, not entirely, but I'm kind of, like, done with, like, staying up till 6, 7 in the morning for some of those. Because, like, I mean, if it's something, like, really big, like, if it's, like, a direct, like, if it's like a, you know, a full direct, or if it's a direct about a game that I really care about, like Smash or whatever, then yeah, obviously I'm gonna stay up all night for it. Because that's how it works. I don't wake up early. That's not how I operate. No. I stay up all night. And that can be annoying sometimes, especially when I'm staying up for something that I don't even really care about that much, but I'm doing it anyway because I don't want to miss out. For example, the last Pokemon Presents that we got, that's one that I was like, I really don't need to watch this live. I really don't. I don't care about Pokemon that much, but what if? But what if they announce this? What if they announce that? I have to be there to see it when it happens, because it's not going to be the same if I watch it after, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the big reasons why watching a direct live is such a big deal. It's not just because it's new stuff, but also because you're watching it at the same time everyone else is. And that's that's like a big part of it, is being able to experience it, you know, together, or know that you're experiencing it all together. Knowing that, oh my god, like everyone's freaking out about this right now. Like I remember, this is a throwback, when the 50 fact extravaganza, when that was happening. I watched that live. And I remember at the very end, when they show Mewtwo, the first thing in my mind was, oh my god, the internet is like literally dying right now.
Yeah, they were.
The internet, like Twitter is exploding like a holy hot Jesus. Like everyone's literally losing their mind right now over this. And they were. But
yeah.
I mean, that was probably the first moment where I really felt the impact of like everyone in the world right now is losing their minds. Was like when Mewtwo was revealed for the first time. It was like that wireframe model. Okay, let's... I don't know how long you've been here. I've just been talking. But, anyways, but yeah, so, yeah. Final trailer, really good. Looking forward to the game, obviously. It's only a few days away now. It's the 7th when we're doing this. It's coming out on the 12th. We're like 5 days away. So, yeah. My brother is actually going to be preloading the game in advance, I believe. He's actually getting it digitally. I'm getting a physical copy, obviously. So I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer for. I'm not sure how we're gonna do that. I'm not sure if we're just gonna go to like Best Buy or whatever, or if we're gonna like get it off Amazon, because I have a lot of Amazon points I could use. So I'm not entirely sure what we're gonna do yet. The only real reason for me to not do Amazon though would just be like, do I trust them to actually have it day one? Because I have been screwed over by that before, only once. But it was on a very, very important game, so it's kind of one of those like never forget type things. And the game that they screwed up on, it was only once, was Smash 3DS. I pre-ordered Smash 3DS from Amazon, and it took them like 3 days to actually get here. And you want to know what I did when I found out it wasn't going to be here day one?
What?
I went to GameStop and bought it. And I didn't cancel my existing order. And the way I justified that was, well, hey, me and my brother, because he has a 3DS, we can like play together. That was how I justified it. Even though his 3DS at the time was borked because he spilled water on it like a year or two before that point, so he never really used it anyway. But I was kind of like, hey, if we ever fix his 3DS, then like, you know, we can play together, because obviously that would be something that would be really cool for us to do. It never really ended up materializing, unfortunately. But that extra copy ended up coming in. That ended up being... I definitely don't regret doing that, because it ended up mattering actually for us. Remember those days when, like, you didn't have your copy?
Yeah.
And I would bring that extra copy and you'd use that so we could play that way. So that copy came in clutch back in those days when, like, particularly like when you didn't have your copy for whatever reason. And we were able to play that way. So even though like it meant like all the characters weren't unlocked or whatever, but hey, it was something, and that's what mattered. So I definitely don't regret doing that, even if it was a quote waste of money in the end. But hey, at least it was only $40 per copy, as opposed to now where it would be 60 or, well, 70. It's a whole other conversation right there, but that's been talked about plenty as well. You know for a fact the next Smash game is going to be 70. There's no way it's not. There's no way it's not.
Yeah.
Every like 10 pull like system seller release is gonna be $70 from here on out. Mario Kart 9 is gonna be $70. The next 3D Mario is gonna be $70. Smash is gonna be $70. It's all like okay, you know, your Pikmins, your Fire Emblems, your smaller, even your Xenoblades maybe, those might stay 60. Because they've already talked about, and of course this depends on how much you believe them. How much you actually believe what they're saying, or if they'll stick to it. But at least as of right now, I'm gonna give them this. I don't like the $70 price tag either. But I'm gonna give them this. At least they're self-aware enough to know that charging $70 for everything is a stupid idea. Because people already complain about, you know, Mario Strikers being $60. Like, could you imagine if that was 70? It would be a minefield. Like, that's the main problem, is that like there's so many games that they put out that are not worth the $60 as, like, you know, you want to charge 60 or hell even 70 for like your 10 pull releases, fine, but you can't charge those prices for like your sports games, your like smaller series, your spin-offs. Like, you can't do that because people don't think those are worth it. Like, if like, I think that all of like those sports games should be 40. Like, okay, Fire Emblem, I'm okay leaving that at 60. That's a like that's fine at 60. Xenoblade's obviously fine at 60. But like your spin-offs, your Mario Sports, your, you know, stuff like that, like that does not need, that should not be $60. Also, like the Wii U ports should not be $60. Those should be like 40 as well.
Yeah.
But anyways, getting back to my original point. But yeah, so ever since that time, so basically what happened is, because I got Mario Kart 8, like OG Mario Kart 8. Back in the day, not to be confused with the Switch version, like 2014, May 2014. Like, I got Mario Kart 8 on launch day from Amazon, and that showed up just fine, although it took them all day. I remember sitting in front of the TV in the living room just waiting for it to show up. It was so annoying. Like, it didn't show up until like 7 or 8. It was like they took the whole day to ship it. It was like so annoying. But when it finally got there, it was obviously a great feeling. Although I wasn't probably as dire for it as it would have been for like maybe Smash even, because I had already played the game at that point. Okay, do you remember the GameStop demo? Do you remember that being a thing?
Vaguely.
Because I remember when they announced, hey, exclusively at GameStop, you're going to be able to play Mario Kart 8 like a few weeks early. And that was like the most important thing in the world to me when I found that out. And so and eventually I got to go to GameStop and play the game early. I got to play some of like the first courses. Of course, they didn't have everything unlocked. It was like a demo build. But like, that was really cool. And what was neat is that there was actually someone else there that was also there for it, but he was just kind of like cool and let us play it anyway. It was kind of neat. But yeah, so I had already gotten to play Mario Kart 8, so I wasn't like as desperate to play as I would have been otherwise, because I'd already gotten my taste of it at that point. Although, like, I guess in some respects you could argue that made it worse, but I don't know. It was really annoying having to wait all day, but it could have been like worse. But yeah, and then yeah, I got Smash 3DS through Amazon. They screwed up and I didn't get it until several days later, and because I wasn't about to wait for Smash, I bought another copy at GameStop. Still have both of those to this day. And again, it was originally like a, hey, my brother can use this one if he ever gets his 3DS fixed. Never ended up working out, but I ended up getting use out of it again back in the day. when we used to play Smash 3DS at school. You know, you would use my other copy sometimes, stuff like that. So it got its use.
Yeah.
It got used. It was definitely not a complete waste of money, but yeah. And then for Smash Wii U, I wasn't taking any chances with Amazon. Are you kidding me? After that, I'm not taking no chances on having to wait 3 days to play Smash Wii U, especially when we were like the first ones to get it. Because remember, okay, you want to know something that is like it's one of those things like, you know how people are like, you know, back in my day, you know, stuff like that, right? Well, you want to know one of those things that like the kids nowadays just will never understand. Remember when Nintendo released a Smash game 1 month earlier in Japan and we didn't get it until a month later?
Yeah.
The sheer concept of that happening now would be insane.
Yeah.
Releasing a game as big as Smash 1 month early in Japan is insane to think about now, but it really happened back then, and it was the most frustrating thing ever. Especially when they put out that Club Nintendo demo that was like what's the analogy I'm trying to make here? That was like, I'm trying to make a Raiders of the Lost Ark joke here, but it was like, it was the Ark of the Covenant, right? It was like the most important thing in the world if you could get one of those codes. Like, I remember wanting a Club Nintendo code for that demo so freaking badly, you have no idea. It was like the most important thing ever.
I could only imagine.
It was like,
I could only imagine.
It was like so big of a deal. Oh my god. It was like, oh my god. I never ended up getting it, unfortunately, obviously, but man, seeing like Game Explain and all these channels that got their hands on codes and they were giving out codes, and it's like, ah! All these guys are playing this demo and I don't get to play it. So it's like, first, the game itself just came out like a month early. And then on top of that, there's a demo, but it's like Club Nintendo exclusive. And of course I had Club Nintendo, I'd had it for years, but I don't even remember how that works. Like, I don't even remember what you had to do to get it. Was it just random? I swear it was literally just random. Like, you just got randomly selected. There was no criteria, there was no anything. I think it was literally just, if you get lucky, then you get a code for it. That's for as far as I can remember. But obviously didn't end up getting a code. But then, of course, eventually, like later on, as we like got closer to the game actually coming out here, they put out the free demo that had like the 30 time limit. Remember when demos had limits?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was 30. I don't think, because I know some demos were like really limited. They would have you like 5 or 10, which is like ridiculous. But this one had 30, and I was so paranoid about losing that I don't think I ever closed out the game. Like from that point up until like right before the game came out, I never turned off my 3DS. I never closed out of the game because I really did not want to lose any of those slots or whatever you want to call them. Even though realistically, if I'd opened and closed it every day from the time the public version, because the thing about the Club Nintendo demo that was also a big deal is not only did it come out first and it was like the Ark and the Covenant and everything, but also it had no time limit. There was no demo limit. There was no 30 times. Like it was you could play it as many times as you want. So even once the public demo came out, it still had value because you could play as many times as you wanted, whereas the public demo only was like 30 tries. But yeah, I was so paranoid about losing about that I never closed my 3DS. And then obviously the game came out and then that stopped mattering, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole, yeah. Next year, I'm gonna do a like 10 year, like I'm gonna do like a Smash 4 10 years later type thing. Because that absolutely deserves a video, because Smash 4 is like one of the most important games in the world to me. That whole experience. Like Like, less so the game, I mean, the game itself is good, but like, less so the game itself and more so like the hype train and the lead up and like and like that kind of stuff, right? Like that stuff in particular is like the most important thing that's ever happened to me. Like kind of unironically though, like genuinely, like that was like that era, like there's a reason why I've kind of called like the 2014 2015 era like a golden age for me, because it was like the biggest deal on the planet, like that game in particular. So yeah, that's a whole, I mean, I've already talked about some of it right now, but I'm definitely going to talk about more of that, and I'll probably end up telling the story again whenever I do that video, because that's a video that I definitely want to do at sometime next year. I don't know when I'm going to do it. It'll probably be on like one of the 2 release days. Well, actually, maybe one of the 3 release days. I have 3 possible release date options. I believe it was September 13th is when it came out in Japan. Then it was October 3rd for us. And then it was November 21st for the Wii U version, which came out here first. So that's 3 possible like dates I could do for putting that up. I could do Japan 3DS, US 3DS, or US Wii U. Those are 3 options I have. It probably really doesn't matter that much. But I feel like I should do it on the 21st because like obviously like the Wii U version's obviously going to get discussed, so it would be kind of weird to like not wait until the Wii U version was out to do that, but I don't know. Point is, that's a video I'm 100% going to do it sometime next year, because that game is way too important to me to not get a like discussion of some kind where I like kind of talk about my whole history with it and the game itself and kind of how things were back then, how things have kind of changed, because I feel like a lot has changed since then. But yeah, and I'll probably even talk about stuff like I think I've mentioned this in the past, but honestly I feel like the Smash community before Etika and after Etika is like a big difference. And when I say that, I don't mean like Etika like being a thing. I mean like, you know, before and after he passed.
Yeah.
Because the Smash community, the Smash hype, all that stuff feels so different now compared to what it was before. Even as early, like, I don't know, it just feels like it hasn't been the same. It's just not the same ever since Etika left us, unfortunately. And I just... Because, you know, he was like the centerpiece of Smash for so long.
Yeah.
And it's just not the same. It really, really isn't. I mean, every time like someone like that dies, everyone always says that it's never going to be the same. But I feel like that was the first time where I really felt it. Like it really, and like not immediately, but by the time we got to like Byleth and Min Min, I was like, oh yeah, this does not feel the same. Like by that point, it was like, oh yeah, it is not the same. And yeah, I mean, Ultimate in general never quite had the same like hype flair for me that Smash 4 did. But once Etika passed, it was like yeah, it was not the same whatsoever after that point. But again, that's a whole thing I can talk about more whenever that video comes out, because obviously you can't talk about Smash 4 without talking about Etika.
Yeah.
We can't talk about Smash in general without talking about Etika, but especially Smash 4, because that's where he kind of got to start with all that. I think I first knew Etika existed, I think around the time Smash 3DS came out. It was before Smash Wii U came out. I don't think it was the sorry, not the Ridley reaction. I don't think that was the Mewtwo reaction. I think it was before the Mewtwo reaction, but it was around that time. Is when I first started following him. And obviously the Mewtwo reaction is obviously a classic and all that. And that's how a lot of people did discover him.
Yeah.
But I think I discovered him slightly before that. Maybe like his, because he didn't stream the, because he streamed the 3DS version Japan with like that really bad mic that's like really funny because of how bad it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's like maybe like almost my favorite stream he's ever done. Like, is those like Smash 3DS Japanese streams with the really bad mic. They're so funny.
Yeah.
Man, where the heck was I? What was I even talking about? Oh, right. I was talking about the whole Amazon and like whether I get it. Oh yeah, that whole thing. But you know what? Me getting sidetracked isn't really a bad thing because I need something to talk about, right? Because what the heck is the point in a stream if I'm not saying anything? It's boring.
Yeah.
It's boring. I'm just sitting here playing the game. I gotta talk about something, and that's why like and I'm sure we're gonna run into it eventually. But there's always that point in the stream where I'm like, well, I've run out of things to talk about.
Yeah, I know.
And then I just kind of sit there and do whatever for a while until I'm like, okay, I think we should just call it. But anyways, going back to so after my Smash 3DS experience of them screwing up, I did not want to repeat that with Smash Wii U. So I ordered Smash Wii U from GameStop. I also got my first 2 amiibo on that day. November 21st, 24. That's a day I'm gonna. That's like I remember like ice cold. November 21st, 2014. It's such a monumental day, I tell you. But but also of course alongside Smash Wii U, we of course got amiibo, and I got a Kirby amiibo, and my brother got a Link amiibo, and we still have them to this day, of course. The original save data for them is long gone, but which died once Ultimate came out because obviously we had to use them. Although we didn't use amiibos in Ultimate nearly as much as we did in Wii U, but yeah, we got those amiibos and all that stuff or whatever. And then basically every game I got from that point onward, from Smash Wii U up until Mario Odyssey, I got from GameStop. I did not do Amazon for any of that. So Splatoon 1, Mario Maker, Breath of the Wild on Wii U, Breath of the Wild on Switch when I got the Switch from that GameStop bundle a month after it came out because of the darn scalpers. At least it was only a month and not 2 years like the PS5, but that's another thing I remember very vividly is like when the Switch first came out, they were impossible to get, and you had the sad familiar. The only difference is it was only like a month or two. Like it didn't take that long. You know, the PS5 took like 2 years to actually be in stock, whereas like the Switch was like 2 months at worst. Like by the time you got to like E3. It was like, oh yeah, they were easy pickings at that point. It was like it did not take that long. But yeah, but since I couldn't get a Switch day one, I got Breath of the Wild on Wii U, and then I got the Switch version later with a GameStop bundle in April. But anyways, yeah, went to GameStop for a few years to get all my stuff, and then in 2018, the GameStop. Was that GameStop still open at that point? I don't remember. The Bella, the GameStop that I went to closed, and
on Friday. That was fun. No.
So yeah, that GameStop closed. And then from that point onward, I just kind of did stuff on Amazon again. And for what it's worth, it hasn't really backfired on me.
All right, everybody's got to get dressed. We're leaving. Let's go.
That did not sound very promising, what I just heard.
Yeah, I guess this is probably going to be the last match that I'm going to be here. But at least we were able to get some gameplay in.
Yeah, we got about an hour in there. It's not bad.
Almost an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So it was pretty successful nonetheless.
I mean, I'm probably gonna keep going for a little bit because because I believe it ends at 5, so I might as well go another 45 minutes until the thing ends.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a bit unfortunate with that. You have to be cut short like that. But
yeah, I'm aware.
But yeah, it's still cool that you were able to be here though.
Yeah. Always fun being here. Okay, well, what?
I was gonna say, although I will say that I mean, not that you really talk all that much whenever we do these, but like you really didn't. You kind of just sat there while I talked the whole time.
Yeah, that tends to be how a lot of your streams go.
Yeah, it's something I have been thinking about, is that whenever I do have you on one of these, I tend to dominate the conversation heavily. I mean, it's my stream, I guess, but it's still, it's kind of like, well, I mean, yeah, you're here, but I kind of feel like you should, participate in it a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I have kind of thought of, but I don't know. I guess that's something we could figure out another time, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thanks for being here, and
no problem.
And yeah, I guess I'll see you later then.
All right, see ya.
Alrighty then. So that was that. And yeah, it's a little unfortunate that you couldn't stick until the end here, but we might as well keep going. I'll keep talking about my little story. I guess, because might as well, right? So we can hit the 40. Because yeah, I believe it's ending at 45. I believe it's ending at 45. Yeah, 45 minutes from now. I believe it ends at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And it is 4:19, so we got about like 40 minutes left until I think the event even ends in the first place. So we might as well, go all the way, right? You might as well just, let's get the last 45 minutes in there. And then that'll kind of be that, I guess. And yeah. To my knowledge, no one really has shown up at all. I haven't really seen anyone in the chat, which is kind of unfortunate. But I can't really say I'm surprised. I mean, I'm doing this one pretty late, admittedly. Not late in the day or anything, but just like... I'm late to the party on this one, I'll admit. So that does not help my case. But at least there's nothing else notable happening today, at least as far as I can think of. There's not any, like, presentations, there's not any releases or anything, so it's not like I'm really being overshadowed by anything. It's just I took too long to do this stream, and now no one really cares, which, hey, fair enough. That's kind of on my fault. Again, I was supposed to do this yesterday, where it may have been a little more relevant, but... I don't know. After I got back from seeing Guardians 3, I just really wasn't feel like streaming. And then by the time I was feeling like it, it was kind of too late in the day, and he wasn't really available, and I didn't really want to do the stream without him, so... Yeah, but, yeah, that's something I think that, yeah. Yeah, so... I guess let's go back to talking about, kind of the story here. So, yeah, so I went to GameStop from 2014 to 2017. I basically got most of my purchases of new, like, release day stuff from GameStop. And then in 2018, the GameStop I normally went to, I think, closed, or it closed around that time. And then from that point onward, I just got stuff from wherever, Amazon, Best Buy sometimes, wherever. I kind of at that point stopped really going to one place in particular. I actually started going back to Amazon a lot, ironically enough, and that's because of something I've talked about in the past, and that's Microsoft points. What are Microsoft points? Well, basically, every time you participate in a certain Microsoft-related activity, whether it's playing a game on Xbox, or buying a game on Xbox or using Bing or using Edge, something along those lines, you get points, and you can redeem those points for various things on their little Microsoft Rewards thing. And one of those is Amazon gift cards. And I know I've talked about this in the past before, but you can actually, I have bought full games before with just Amazon Rewards points from Microsoft or whatever. Like Persona 5 Royal and Strikers, both of those games I fully bought for quote-unquote free with just a bunch of Amazon gift card stuff that I got from Microsoft points. So isn't that pretty neat? Free games, right? And all I have to do is just, just by, doing random, Microsoft related, things. And I do use Edge, and I do use Bing. Yes. Okay, saying you use Edge isn't really that controversial. I mean, people use Edge. People generally consider Edge to be a good browser. It's just that Edge has the same problem that Internet Explorer kind of had, where, like, Microsoft is trying way too hard to push it on people. And if there's one thing I've noticed, it's this. Newsflash, Microsoft, forcing people to use Edge is not going to make people like Edge. Signed a happy Edge user. I like ever since Edge went Chromium. I didn't use Edge before that point, like most. I didn't care about Edge before that point. But once Edge went Chromium, I switched to it immediately, even when it was in its beta stages, and I haven't looked back since. I'm really happy with Edge, but forcing people to use Edge the way Microsoft has done in Windows 11 with that whole problem where they like deliberately got rid of the default browser option and made it like way harder for a while until they were forced to add it back in because people complained or whatever. That obviously was pretty dumb. Not new, I suppose, from Microsoft. They've done stuff like that again with Internet Explorer back in the day, but yeah, that was a thing though. But anyways, getting back to the Microsoft points thing, though. So yeah, right now I have about $30 worth of Amazon gift card stuff that I could redeem if I wanted to. So that would be a good enough reason to get Tears of the Kingdom, because I could get it for $30 off, essentially. But at the same time, it may not end up being that way. It kind of depends. I mean, because I might want to use that $30 for another game that's coming out later this year, because the only other game that's coming out this year that I really have any interest in, aside from Tears of the Kingdom, would, of course, be Spider-Man 2. I obviously would like to get Spider-Man 2 when it comes out. We'll see if that actually happens, but it's not as important as getting Tears of the Kingdom, obviously, especially because that game will be coming out, closer to, like, Christmas and stuff, so like if I don't get it day one, it's not a big deal. I can wait a few months. It's not as important as Tears of the Kingdom, but I definitely would like to play it sooner if I could. I mean, I was originally going to get Miles Morales day one, but that didn't end up happening. I ended up playing it a year later once I got the PS5. I was thinking of getting the PS4 version, but I was kind of like, but I want to play it at 60 FPS when it comes out on PS5, or when I get a PS5, because of course I didn't have a PS5 at that point, because like I said earlier, the PS5 was like unavailable for like forever. I got my PS5 about a year after it came out, and I got mine in like November of 2021 via that like Sony like raffle thing where you could be randomly selected to buy one. I got in on that, was able to get one, and then I was set from that point onward. And then I got Miles Morales not too long after that, and I got like the Ultimate Edition physical that comes with like the Miles Morales disc, but it has the code for Spider-Man Remastered. And also, for those of you who don't know, Spider-Man Remastered is now available separately. For the longest time, you had to buy the Miles Morales like Ultimate Edition to get it, but now you don't have to do that. Now you can just buy it on the PlayStation Store. There is no physical copy still, unfortunately, for it. But if you don't have Miles Morales, or you don't want Miles, like if you just want Spider-Man Remastered on its own, you don't have to buy Miles Morales now to get it. You could just buy it on its own for, I think, is it like $50? I think it's $50, which is what it was originally, I think, in the first place. The remaster, not the original, of course, but I don't know. Is it 50? Or is it 60? I don't, because Miles Morales is 50. So I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. Points, it's available separately. But anyways, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Tears of the Kingdom. That was the whole point of this entire conversation before I got really, really sidetracked and talking about Smash and other things. So yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, Tears of the Kingdom, Tears of the Kingdom. Oh yeah, so my brother is... Yeah, this was the point I was originally talking about. So he's gonna preload it digitally because he wants to play it the second it's out. He doesn't really care about physical all that much. Although he does need more storage space because he doesn't have an SD card, so we had to get him an SD card. So he had enough space for that because Tears of the Kingdom is like 17 gigs, and of course there's only 32 gigs on the base Switch. So, and he has other stuff installed, of course. So yeah. So yeah, he's gonna get Tears of the Kingdom digitally. I'm gonna get it physically, of course, because I gotta have all my games physical if I can. Like Spider-Man 2, when that comes out, that's gonna be a physical copy, of course. Like any game I get for the PS5 or the Switch is physical. The only system where physical isn't as much of a priority is like Xbox, because Xbox is like... Xbox for me is just a Game Pass machine at this point. I don't buy anything on Xbox at this point. I just use it to play like Forza and Halo, basically. And I don't have those games. Actually, I have MCC and Halo 5. I have those, but like the Forza games, I don't have. I do want to buy them eventually for whenever they inevitably get taken off of Game Pass because of licensing issues, like what happened with Forza Horizon 3. I really regret not buying Forza Horizon 3 when it was on deep discount before I got discontinued, because because a lot of people hold that up as like the best game in the series, and I kind of missed out on it. I can still play it if I buy like the physical Xbox One disc, and I can play that version, and I can update it so it gets the 4K patch and everything. So I can still play it. I just can't play any of the DLC though, which kind of sucks. Because again, I know a lot of people talk about like the Forza Horizon 3 version of Hot Wheels. That's 1 and 5, of course, and I like the version in 5, but people talk up like the Hot Wheels DLC in the third game as being like the best DLC they've ever made. But again, I will never know that for sure because I can't play it. So it's kind of like, yeah. But anyways, Tears of the Kingdom, Tears of the Kingdom, Tears of the Kingdom. So yeah, physical version either from Amazon or we'll just go to Best Buy. I don't know. We'll see. It's one of those games where, ironically enough, I don't have to worry about having the money this time around, because normally, obviously, I try and pay for as much stuff as I can on my own. But ironically enough, this game is the one game that everyone is like excited for. I'm excited for it, my brother's excited for it, and most importantly, my dad's excited for it because he really liked Breath of the Wild. So obviously he's looking forward to Tears of the Kingdom, and for the last few years, every once in a while, he'd ask me like, "Hey, is there any new stuff on the new Zelda?" And I'll be like, "No, not really," or "Oh yeah, there's a new trailer coming out," or whatever. And obviously now it's about to release. But because he wants to play the game too, I've kind of been like, well, if I don't have the $70, it's not a big deal. Because there's no way we're not going to get it anyway, because he wants to play it too. I mean, we all want to play it. Although my brother apparently is going to buy, again, his own copy on his own, because he wants to play it, like, at midnight or whatever. I'm not going to do that, because I want a physical copy, but yeah. So, again, that might be another reason why we end up using that $30 Amazon credit, but again, we'll see. I'm not sure. But either way, no matter what happens, I am going to be playing that game on May 12th. And that now brings us to another conversation, one that I have been thinking about for a little while now. And that is, will I stream the game? Because it's kind of like, well, I can't not stream it, right? I mean, come on, it's Tears of the Kingdom. How can I not do a stream, at least a release day stream for that? Am I going to stream the whole game? Hell no. But doing like a launch day stream? Yeah, that seems like an obvious, a good idea on paper, but the more I've thought about it, the more I'm like, you know, is that really a good idea? I think the thing that really solidified that for me was, I did a stream last month. I was on one of Jay's streams. We were playing a Forza Horizon 5, and we were playing through the Rally expansion that had just come out. And it was kind of my first time going through it, and he had, you know, not done a lot of it yet at that point. And for most of that stream, we were kind of just barreling through races. And the stream went on for like a long time, went on for like 5 hours. And I remember after that point, he was kind of talking about how, like, you know, well, this was, you know, a neat idea and it was cool and all that we did it, that, like, it would have been better if he had played, like, the Rally expansion on his own first, so he could have gotten that first time experience. And that kind of made me think, you know, you're kind of right. And that kind of made me wonder, you know, should I do Tears of the Kingdom on a stream? Like, again, not the whole game or anything, just like a release day thing. Or should I have that be on my own so I can experience the game, you know, the way it was meant to be played and not as part of a stream? Because like Jay himself has said in multiple streams, and I agree with him on this, playing a game on stream and playing a game the normal way is not the same thing. It depends on the game, definitely. There are games that I think are definitely better streamed than on your own. Like, for example, Smash is the kind of game that just makes sense to stream. That's a game that, like, is better streamed, I feel, at least for me, than playing it the normal way. At least when, you know, there's people there and we're interacting with the chat and we're having a good time. But, you know, obviously if I'm just sitting there kind of talking to myself like I am right now, then that may be a different story. But when there's a good Smash stream, it's a good time. I really like doing those. But I haven't done those as much lately, partly because, you know, Smash Ultimate, you know, it's been out for a while. I haven't played it as much. I haven't really felt like it. And also because, well, there isn't as many people showing up. Again, you know, Vigibake, I don't know if he's still out there. If he ever sees this, then hi, Vigibake. I haven't seen him in a while. He used to be, like, my most consistent viewer. So kind of ever since he kind of dropped off the face of the earth, seemingly, I just haven't really felt like streaming as much, which is one of the reasons why I haven't streamed as much this year, because I don't feel like, what's the point in streaming if no one shows up, right? What's the point in streaming if there's no one there to watch it? Then it's just kind of a waste of time. You know, because that's kind of the whole point of streaming is, you know, interacting with the viewers. And if I can't really do that because no one's here, then it's kind of pointless. That's not entirely true. Like, for example, the reaction streams I think are worth doing even if no one shows up, because those are evergreen, right? Those streams are evergreen because there are always going to be people that are like, hey, what were people's reactions to this character or whatever? Like, there's always going to be a desire to go back and look at old reactions from people. So those are worth doing even if no one shows up for them live. But stuff like this, right? I mean, like, we've been streaming this for an hour and 30 minutes, and I haven't seen a single person show up. So it's kind of like, well, if no one's here, then is the stream really even worth doing in the first place? I don't know, you know. I mean, it's something to do, I guess, but yeah. I think that's our first disconnect of the day, actually. Not quite yet. Almost at 45 there for that. But anyways, getting off track again. Point is, yeah, right now I don't think I'm going to stream it. Not when it first comes out. Maybe like later, once I've done like done like the story stuff. Maybe we can do like a little like chill stream or whatever, where we just go around and do whatever or something like that. Maybe we'll do something like that. But for the initial playthrough where I'm like doing the story and stuff, yeah, nah, I think I'm gonna do that on my own. Case in point, actually, another update from that's happened since the last stream is I finally 100%, well, not 100% literally, but 100% for all the stuff that matters, Breath of the Wild. I famously have been putting off finishing that game for a very long time. And when I say finishing it, I don't mean the main game, I mean like the DLC. Like, it's funny how like we were all waiting for the Champion's Ballad for months, and then it finally came out, and then I barely played it. I did a bit of like the initial part where you're in the Great Plateau doing like the new challenges or whatever. But outside of that, I kind of dropped it and didn't really bother doing it for a very, very, very long time. In fact, it wasn't until like a few weeks ago that I finally actually went down and like really worked on it and finally finished it. And then I also went ahead and I managed to beat the final trial, which I thought I was never going to be able to do because I thought that'd be like impossible for someone like me. But I managed to pull it off. So I finished all the trials, I finished the Champion's Ballad, I finished all the side quests, got all the shrines. So I've done all the stuff that matters. You know, I'm not going to go out there and complete the Hyrule Compendium. I'm also not going to do all the Korok seeds for obvious reasons. But I've done everything that matters. I've got all the shrines, I got all the side quests, I've done all the DLC, and then of course I went ahead and I beat Ganon, even though I already did that on the Wii U version a long, long time ago, but I never did it on the Switch version because I wanted to wait until I beat everything else first. So I went ahead and did that, and yeah, now I'm basically done with Breath of the Wild. It only took me 6 years, but I've now 100% for everything that matters, everything in that game. Again, not Hyrule Compendium, not the Korok Seeds, but I've done everything that matters. Everything that matters, I've done. So, I'm glad I got that done, even if it took me way too long to finally get around to doing it. I still haven't beat Age of Calamity, I'm still behind on that, but I'm not sure if I'll ever finish it at this point, because that's a game I kind of lost interest in a while ago. Like, when it first came out, I played it, obviously, a lot, but it didn't take super long for me to kind of like stop playing it for a variety of reasons. A part of it was just wasn't really super invested in the gameplay, and two, the frame rate in that game. Like Age of Calamity is the game that made me realize we needed a Switch Pro, because that game does not run well. It's probably the worst running, or one of the worst running first-party games out there. Granted, it's made by Koei Tecmo, and they're not exactly known for stellar performance. Look at Dynasty Warriors 9 as a great example, but still. And also, Fire Emblem Three Houses, another game that they co-developed, is like does not run super great. By contrast, Fire Emblem Engage, the new game that came out recently, that game runs and looks a lot better than Three Houses because it's not running on the Koei Tecmo engine, whereas Three Houses was. And you can tell it was. I could tell that was the same engine, and you know how I know it is? Because Persona 5 Strikers, which is also made by Koei Tecmo, uses the same engine, and you can tell because the models, where the models look, you can tell it's the same engine. And yeah, that engine is not the best engine ever, but anyways. So yeah, part of it was just the gameplay, part of it was just, I mean, of course it's a Musou game, but I never had a problem with the gameplay in the first couple games. I mean, I did all of Hyrule Warriors, I did most of Fire Emblem Warriors. I never played the Three Houses one that came out a little while ago, like Three Hopes. I never played that. But I played, you know, the first Fire Emblem Warriors from 2017. But Age of Calamity, which you would think would be the one that would be the most interesting to me because it's like the prequel or whatever to Breath of the Wild. But the problem is, first there's the gameplay, first there is the frame rate. But I think the final nail in the coffin that just kind of made me like not really care. I mean, I'm sure I'll finish it eventually. But the thing that kind of killed it for me in the end was just the game doesn't matter. Because before the game came out, I was under the impression, I think most people were, that this was going to be the official, like, this is what happened 100 years ago. This is, like, the official prequel. Everything that we see is what happened. But shortly after the game came out, I had heard people talk, even though I didn't have any spoilers, and I still really don't, for the most part. I had heard how the game is, like, not really canon. And that kind of threw me off. I'm like, what do you mean it's not canon? That's the whole point. The whole purpose of the game is to be a canon prequel. Well, that and a holdover until the next Zelda game, but like still. And then a few weeks ago, after I finished Breath of the Wild, finally, I went and booted up Age of Calamity, picked the first mission that I hadn't done yet. In the first cutscene I see, and I'm gonna spoil this because at this point I don't think anyone really cares. I see a cutscene of like the current like kind of like successors to the champions, you know, doing whatever. Then, oh no! Let me take that back. We see the champions, you know, fighting, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, their future counterparts suddenly drop in. Like that one Goron drops in. Sidon drops in, that one Gerudo person, like all of like the kind of like successors to the champions or descendants or whatever. Those guys just suddenly pop in out of nowhere in that cutscene, and in that moment, I knew 100%. Okay, this game is 100% not canon because there's no reason. Because if this was canon, they wouldn't have they wouldn't have time travel. where the future characters come back to the past, because that's what at least I interpret that as. Now again, I haven't progressed beyond that point, but I remember I did see something that apparently like the robot, you know, the little robot guardian, that the little like companion that comes with you on the game, that apparently he's like a time travel robot or something, or he messes with time, and that would explain why everything's happening. But I don't know, that was kind of like the nail in the coffin for me to like not really ever finish it. Again, I'm sure I'll finish it at some point, but the second it was like really obviously apparent that it wasn't canon, I kind of, because like that was the entire draw, well, not the entire draw, but that was like a good chunk of the draw for me. It was like the canon prequel, and it's not. So why should I care? It's blatantly not canon. They wouldn't have time travel in a prequel. It's just, I mean, I guess the problem, like, if they marketed the game as a Hyrule Warriors game first and a prequel second, then that would be fine. If it was just, hey, you know, play as all the champions and beat up enemies, if that was all they marketed the game as, that'd be fine. But they didn't. They marketed it as like the prequel, see what happens 100 years before. I know that statement is still technically correct, but it's not the canon timeline, so why should I care? It's kind of my problem with it. I don't know. That might be a hot take, to be like Age of Calamity doesn't really matter because it's not canon, but like, I don't know, I kind of can't help it. It's like, because that was the entire kind of half the draw, was like it was canon. If it's not canon, then why should I care? I don't know, that's just me though. But I guess the one good thing about that is that now if I never finish the game, well, it's not canon, so I'm not missing out on anything technically. Like, there's not going to be anything in Tears of the Kingdom that's going to be tied to Age of Calamity, or at least I really doubt it. Unless Tears of the Kingdom has time travel for some weird reason, but we've had absolutely nothing to suggest that's actually the case. Speaking of Tears of the Kingdom, I alluded to this way earlier before I got really sidetracked. But, even though, obviously Nintendo's been very secretive with this game, they've tried to show as little as they possibly can for as long as they can, up until we got that final trailer that finally showed us some more substantial bits. One thing that they probably knew was going to happen, but wasn't expecting to happen as fast as it did, and I wasn't expecting to happen as fast as it did, was the game leaking. Now, of course, we all knew the game was going to leak. Like, come on. Of course it was going to leak. But I was not expecting it to leak as early as it did. It leaked, like, on, like, the 1st or whatever. Or like, it leaked, like, 2 weeks before the game came out. And it was not long until the files were up and available online. So right now, if you really want to play that game and you don't want to wait, you don't care about spoilers or any of that stuff, and you just don't care, you don't care about any of that, you just want to play the game, by all means, all you gotta do is search for it, and I'm sure you'll find it. And I know that people have been playing it because there's a friend on my Discord, a person I don't remember that much. I think it's someone from the Yokai Watch days, which was like forever ago, so I don't remember this person. And I don't even think I talked to them all that much. But it's someone that I have friended on Discord from a long time ago, and I remember a few days ago, I saw on like the little sidebar where like, hey, this person's playing this, that it said they were on Ryujinx playing Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah. So obviously, yeah, the game is out there, right? Like the game is out there. So spoilers beware. I haven't seen any spoilers, thankfully, and I'm gonna try and keep it that way. But obviously, the internet will be the internet, and there's a decent chance that YouTube recommendations might screw me over because I remember that happened for Splatoon 3, where I got spoiled on Grizz being the final boss because of a thumbnail. I hope that doesn't I mean, of course we know the final bosses of this game, but you know, I hope I don't get screwed over like that again for this one. We'll see what happens. I mean, considering I haven't seen anything at this point, it makes me feel like I won't see anything, but who knows? But yeah, the game is out there, so if you want to play it, you can play it. You just gotta go find it and play it on like Yuzu or Ryujinx or you could probably put it on a mod. Oh yeah, and modded switches, of course. Actually, there was a I'm not sure if you want to call it an incident, but there was like a little thing that happened the other day where apparently like some guy on Twitter was like posting the screenshot of like his modded Switch with like the Tears of the Kingdom icon, and then like Reggie like retweeted it. Reggie as in like Reggie. That Reggie, the Reggie. He retweeted it and he posted like some quote from like a movie or whatever. And like apparently like the guy that made the tweet got like really freaked out by it, and he had deleted the tweet and he deleted his account, but then Reggie had like a screenshot of it or something. I don't know, it was just kind of like little thing that happened, and it's kind of weird. Weird to see Reggie kind of like acknowledge the leaks in any way. It was kind of weird, but okay. But yeah, the game's out there, and obviously, as you would expect, Nintendo is doing everything in its power to try and quash it. And I can tell you right now, they are not going to succeed in that, because like with the music takedowns, it's not going to happen. That's not how the internet works. You can take down as many music channels as you want, you can DMCA as many websites as you want, but it doesn't make a difference. There will always be someone out there that has it. You know, it's like the analogy of like the snakes or whatever, where it's like you cut off one head and three more spring up or whatever that analogy is. Like that's how it works for the music channels, right? You take down Brawl X, whatever the name of that channel was that everyone used to listen to back in the day, like that got taken down in 2019. Like you take down that channel, then there'll be another channel, like you can't kill it. So, like, them trying to stop Tears of the Kingdom from being played or whatever right now, it's not gonna work. They can DMCA as much as they want, but it's not gonna work. To my knowledge, they haven't actually DMCA'd any websites, but I know they've DMCA'd some tools. Like I know there's a tool that regarding extracting keys so you can use them with emulators and stuff. I believe they DMCA'd a tool for that. But the emulators themselves are still fine, which isn't surprising, because you ever wondered how all those emulators still exist and how they haven't been pounded into the ground yet? Because they can't. Because emulators on their own are perfectly legal, or perfectly legit, rather. And Nintendo can't do anything about that. As long as they did everything correctly, you know, reverse engineer, they didn't use any, you know, original Nintendo source code or anything like that, then it's all above board. That's how Dolphin is able to exist. That's how Dolphin is able to exist on Steam. Yeah, remember that community post I made a little while ago about how Dolphin is going to be on Steam? Well, that's probably how they were able to pull it off. Because it's completely reverse engineered. They did everything right. And it's totally illegal to, you know, reverse engineer to make an emulator. That's the thing, right? Emulators on their own are totally legal. It's just everything else about it that's a gray zone, like, you know, obviously piracy and ripping the games and stuff like that. That's where, like, it becomes a gray zone. But, like, the emulator itself is, like, totally fair. There's nothing wrong with an emulator on its own. That's why they've never been able to take one down, thankfully. So you're never going to see Simu or Ryujinx go away or Yuzu go away because they literally can't take it down because because they're totally in the clear, legally speaking, no matter what they do. They can try and kill everything else. They can shut down ROM and ISO sites all they want, but they can't actually kill the emulator. But anyways, so yeah, obviously Nintendo's been going after early Tears of the Kingdom stuff as much as they possibly can, but it's kind of a losing battle, right? Because you can't really win against the internet like that. If you really want to know spoilers, if you really want to play the game yourself, you can do it. Google is your friend. Just find the right website with the right download and the right torrent. It's all yours. But yeah, I haven't seen any spoilers yet, and hopefully it stays that way. And I'd hope this goes without saying, but obviously, to anyone else out there, don't spoil things for others. If you want to spoil yourself, by all means. But don't go spoiling it for others. Because obviously, that sucks. Don't do that. But I guess we've been talking about Tears of the Kingdom stuff for a while now, so let's kind of wrap that up. So, I guess long story short, obviously looking forward to it. Obviously, it's coming out soon. Not going to be doing any streams on it when it first comes out. I'm going to play that on my own. I want to experience that on its own. Without having to worry about doing a stream or how the stream will influence things. I just kind of want to do things on my own. You know, it's one of those games where you got to experience it, you know, in the way it was meant to be experienced, you know. Smash, Splatoon, those kind of games, yeah, those make sense to stream, but not Zelda. Nah, I'd rather experience that on my own, at least when it first comes out. Again, you know, down the line, maybe we can do something, but when it first comes out, yeah, I think I'm going to do it on my own. And that's kind of all I really have to say about that, I guess. What else is there? Is there anything else to talk about? We're kind of nearing the end of the stream here, because I believe we're going to be wrapping up on this soon. But, I don't think there's anything else to really talk about, honestly. I think that's kind of it. At least in terms of, like, you know, we haven't talked about Zelda, we've talked a little bit about the Activision Blizzard stuff. There's nothing really else that's been happening that I can think of. I'm sure there's something, I just can't think of it. Again, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened in the last 2 months since the last stream, but in terms of, like, really recent stuff, I can't think of anything else. Well, okay, well, I could talk about this, but there's not really any point because I made a whole video on it. But of course, since the last stream happened, I have, of course, seen the Mario movie. Well, I already made a video on it, so if you want to know my thoughts on the Mario movie and you haven't seen it already, go check it out. It's the newest episode, the Nincast, although it may not be the newest episode for long, because I want to do the E3 discussion sometime soon, probably, and kind of have that set up. I know I'm late to the party on the E3 talk, but I do want to talk about the future of E3 and stuff like that. But, yeah, so you can go check out that Mario movie discussion. I don't really have anything to add to it. I have nothing new to add to the Mario movie discussion other than what I've talked about in that video. And, of course, it's old news at this point anyway, but, yeah. But I'm just pointing out for anyone that watches the streams that, you know, doesn't watch the Nincast or whatever, that I have already talked about the Mario movie in that video. So you can go check that out if you want. But, the only thing new I can really add to the Mario movie thing is that, of course, it came out in Japan not too long ago. And it has crossed the 1 billion mark. What a surprise. Everyone knew that was going to happen. And Nintendo announced that we're going to have more movies. Wow, what a surprise. I'm totally shocked. But what's weird is that they didn't say it was going to be another Mario movie, even though we know that's coming if you've seen the post-credits scene. But for some weird reason, they were like, oh yeah, we're going to have more Nintendo movies, but they didn't specifically confirm a Mario movie sequel, which is really weird, because again, they, like, clearly set it up at the end of the movie. And, like, obviously it was going to get a sequel, like, come on. This thing is getting a trilogy, at least. But again, I've already talked about that in the video itself. But yeah, so it's crossed 1 billion, so that's neat, I guess, but that's really all I gotta say in regards to that. And, yeah. That's kind of it, really, honestly. There's not much else to really say. Which is good, because we're reaching the end here, so I've kind of spent my time wisely. I think I've done a good job at, you know, kind of keeping the discussion going for as long as I have without too many interruptions. Without, like, you know, constantly being all and ah and whatever. I'm kind of been doing, I think I've been doing a good job at, like, making sure that there's always something being talked about and I'm not just sitting here playing the game, because what's the point in me just sitting here playing the game? I gotta talk, you know, to make, so there's actually something going on. Which was also one of the problems, so to speak, of that stream me and Jay did, where we kind of just... I mean, he talked more than I did, because obviously it was his stream, but I didn't really have much to say during that one. I kind of just sat there and kind of just did little responses here and there. I didn't really talk too much. Yeah, probably should have. I would have probably made the stream a bit more lively, but hey, maybe next time around. Next time around if we do something like that, maybe. Because actually, a little while ago, we actually played Forza Horizon 4. We didn't do a stream of it or anything, but we played that, and that was actually a lot of fun. That was definitely, actually pretty neat. That was actually, I think, a lot better than how the last Forza stream we did went. Again, we didn't stream this thing. We just played it on our own, but we were playing some Forza Horizon 4, messing around with stuff. We did some kind of, you know, crazy stuff. There was this one event we did with, like, these really big trucks. And it was, like, really funny. That would have actually been a good stream. That would have been a good stream, but hey. That's kind of what I'm thinking, is, like, if we ever do another stream like if we ever do another Forza stream, it'll probably be something like that. We kind of just, you know, mess around, do, like, you know, crazy, like, events or something, you know, something to kind of, you know, make things more interesting. But again, who knows? We'll see how you know, we'll see what happens with that. But in terms of streams, though, I don't really have any stream plans at the moment. I mean, again, as I've said 1,000 times already, I really haven't done that many streams because I haven't really felt like it for a variety of reasons. That's not a bad thing, obviously. You know, I don't want to have to do a stream all the time. I mean, a few years ago, I would, like, stream, like, all the time. Even last year, I would stream all the time. And it's kind of like, well, I don't need to stream every day or every other day or anywhere close to that. Now I stream, like, maybe, like, once or twice a month. Even then, it's mostly just for, like, a special event or whatever. Yeah, I've kind of over, like, the streaming honeymoon, so to speak, where I'm like, ooh, streaming. You know, I still like streaming every now and then, but now it's kind of like a thing. It's very much a side thing. I'll do it every once in a while, like today, if there's something notable happening or whatever, but aside from that, yeah, I'm not going to stream if I don't need to. Especially if there's no one there to watch it, right? Because what's the point in streaming if no one's going to watch it? But yeah, so I guess we're gonna just kind of wrap up this final match here. It's 4:59, so I believe this is gonna be the end of the this will be the last match, I believe, and then that'll be it. And that'll be it for today, I guess. And yeah, in terms of future streams, well, like I said, I'm not gonna stream Tears of the Kingdom when it first comes out. I'm gonna play that on my own. Or at least I think I'm going to play that on my own. Obviously, maybe my mind will change, but as of right now, I think I'm going to play that on my own, at least at first. And then that's kind of really it. I don't have any other streams I really want to do. I mean, maybe we might do another Smash stream. We might do another Smash stream, but that's about it. I really don't have any other stream plans, you know. I have been thinking about finally doing the Nincast Live with that new format I've talked about in the past, but I don't know. I have the format set up. It's all ready. I just haven't done anything with it. I've almost wondered if I could make that into, like, kind of my equivalent of, like, the WAN show, where it's, like, the weekly, you know, talk about whatever thing I do. And it kind of supplants, like, the regular Nincast for most purposes outside of special occasions or something, but I don't know. As of right now, it's still kind of a thing I'm not really even sure if I'm going to bother doing, but I don't know. I have the layout all set up, though. I have that set up, though. I've actually not been paying attention. I've been so busy talking about stuff. I haven't really been paying attention to like when we win or lose. I actually don't know how many matches we've won this stream. I haven't been paying attention to that as much. I know we're not gonna win this one though. That's for sure. Yeah, this stage is pretty neat though. It's, you know, this cool like Triforce, you know, aesthetic. It's pretty neat. They should do more of these. Alrighty then, it is now 5:02. That should probably be the last match. Should be, at least. Because I believe it's supposed to end, basically, any time now. What's our final tally gonna be? In terms of, like, our score, though. Didn't quite make it to ruler. That's unfortunate, but at least I got the champion. That's like the second best one, so I guess I'll take it. Alrighty then. Well, that's that, I guess. Oh yeah, I didn't really mention this at all, but obviously that was the first Splatfest we've had since Inkopolis was added back to the game, so that was kind of cool to see, like, you know, Inkopolis with the Splatfest for the first time since 2016. That was kind of neat, I guess, but I don't know. I'm just double checking to see if there's anything new. I don't think there is. Oh. I still haven't played I still haven't played this, by the way. I still haven't tried the card game. Yes, really. I mean, it's not that big a deal or anything. It's just I never got around to playing it. One of these days I will. One of these days I will. So let's see. Oh, I got this. I didn't even pay attention. 10 tricolor turf war wins. Attacker. Neat. Yeah, right now I have, the 100 catalog from the first catalog, the S plus rank. I'm not an S plus right now. I lost it a while ago, but I still have the badge for it. And then I have the, 4 stars of 52 gal, because that's kind of my main weapon. Unfortunately, I don't have the 52 gal title. I have tons of titles, but I don't have one for that. I have just dually sculptures, dynamo roller. I'm sure they have a user thing for every weapon in the game, but I don't have the one for 52 gal. If I did, I'd set it to that. As is, I just kind of leave it the way it is. But, let's see. 46, 41. Alrighty then. Guess that's gonna be it then. So, I don't think I'm gonna watch this stream, but I'm not surprised. I waited a long time. I waited until basically the last second to do this one, so I'm not surprised. But if anyone did watch the stream at some point, either live or after the fact, then thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And thank you, Dylan, for being here for a good chunk of the stream. I know I didn't really say much. That's kind of my fault. I kind of talked too much, but still, it was really cool to have him here. And yeah, I guess it's gonna be it. Again, like I said before, I don't have any plans for any future streams at the moment because I don't really feel like streaming for the most part. I really just did this one for the heck of it. I really did not need to do this stream. But I was like, it's a Zelda one. It's a bit special, and I didn't do the last one, so sure, why not? So we did it. But yeah, I really don't have any plans at this point. Again, I might do a Smash stream just for the heck of it, but aside from that, I really don't. I don't really have anything else to say, honestly. That's pretty much all I've really got to say there. So yeah, outside of a potential Smash stream, I don't have anything else planned. I'm not going to stream Tears of the Kingdom when it first comes out. Again, that may change that I might change my mind, but as of right now, my current plan is to just play the game the normal way and not stream it. Maybe later on, once I've done, you know, the story stuff or most of the story stuff, maybe then I can do a stream for it. But as is, I think I want to experience it the normal way first. And that's kind of it. So there's not going to be any presentation. Actually, hold on. There's one thing I might do. There have been rumors, although this has been rumored for a while, so I wouldn't take this, you know, as gospel. But there has been rumors that there will be a PlayStation showcase sometime this month. And if there is, and if it's at a reasonable time, I will probably stream that because I want to see Spider-Man 2. More Spider-Man 2 stuff. So I'll probably stream the PlayStation showcase if it happens this month. If not, I don't really have any other plans. Again, I'm not going to do Tears of the Kingdom stuff, at least not at first. That's really all that I would even really want to stream at that point anyway. So just kind of continuing as normal with me not doing too much here on YouTube, even though I really should do more. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe there'll be another Forza stream, and maybe I just won't do anything. Maybe I'll finally put out those videos. I don't know. But as of right now, there's nothing really planned. The only thing I can really say in terms of any future stuff, period, right now is be on the lookout for a potential like E3 discussion of some kind. Because I do want to talk about that. I was going to record it the other day, but didn't get around to it. So that might be a thing in the near future, but aside from that, that's pretty much it for me. So, again, thank you everyone for watching that did watch, and I guess with that being said, this is Logan59XP, and I'll see you guys next time.
Left every day, ordinary ways. At a door, don't leave them here. Let us hot red lips at a kind of lip. Got our eyes are still in doubt and fear.